Now let us try to create a revolve geometry with different diameters for its cross section. So I'll just try to show you the rocket. And you can observe over here that we have a rocket which is having different diameter along its length, right? We have a smaller diameter over here. This is the nose of the rocket, and we have the diameter increasing, and then again it is decreasing and again increasing at its end. So let us try to create a revolve geometry with variable diameter. And if we are having the exact dimensions of this, we can try to create it. But right now I'm just trying to show you the procedure for creating the revolve. So this is a sample practice kind of thing. So I'm not following the dimensions, but I'm trying to follow the overall geometry appearance. So let us go back to the Creo. So we have this layout. Now, as I mentioned to you in the earlier video, we have to create the cross section. We have to consider the cross section, and we have to divide the cross section into two parts, and we have to create one part, and that part will be swept across the central axis, which we want it to be either the x-axis, z-axis, or the y-axis. So we have to pre-plan the work, and right now in my case I want the rocket to be axisymmetric across the y-axis. I want the y-axis to be the axis of revolution, and in that case I'll just try to consider the front plane again and click on revolve. I got my sketching view. I have to align it. Now that my plane is aligned, I can create the layout. So let me just try to create it. So either on the right hand side or the left hand side of the vertical axis, I have to begin my drawing. So I want to start from the right hand side, and if I am planning to start from the right hand side, I have to ensure that the total sketch, the closed loop, must be on the right hand side. It can be after the horizontal axis. It is not required that we have to finish it only before this particular axis. We can just try to go as far as the distance demand us to go. So let me just try to create it. So I'm creating a rough dimensions with different diameters. I have selected everything. I have seen that the total geometry is a closed loop. If I want, I can just change any dimensions. I want it to be the pointer to be pointed at the tip. So these are the rough dimensions. I'm just repeating again. So if you feel that the rocket is not created, don't blame me. I'm just trying to explain you the procedure, and I'm pressing OK. So now I have to select the vertical axis, which I decided it to be the y-axis. But if I'm selecting the x-axis, I will not be getting any revolve option, because you can observe over here, if I'm selecting the x-axis, the software will not understand, or it will not try to interpret the geometry, because the geometry has to be above the particular horizontal axis if we are wanting the revolution axis, the axis of revolution, to be the horizontal axis. But we have decided earlier that we want the vertical axis to be the vertical axis of revolution. So we have to select the y-axis. So I have to select the y-axis right now, and you can see that I got a rocket which is very smaller in size. Okay, some sort of design. So I just wanted to show you the way how to create this kind of designs. When we are practicing the exercises, we will work with the dimensions and we will try to create the exact shapes. So this is looking like a screw as well. So again, a screw is also a axisymmetric design. So this is the way to create a geometry with variable diameter. So can you just imagine, can we just create this particular geometry with extrude command? No, we cannot create it with extrude command, because with extrude command we have to create the cross section of the geometry, and we are elongating the geometry perpendicular to the section of the cross section what we have created, or to the plane on which we have created the cross section. So the cross section whatever we are going to create for extrude command, that cross section will be maintained along its length. But in Revolve we can create a variable diameter. So what we have done is we have created only the 1/2 of the geometry, and we have swept it around the center axis. So you can see over here you're having an axis. This is called the center axis. I'll just try to change the display style. You can see the central axis. So that is the axis of revolution, we can call it. So this is the way we can create a geometry around the center axis. But there are some kind of geometries that will not be touching to the center axis. For example, we have the rim of the wheel. I'll just try to create that one. Let me change the display style. So I'll just try to click on the front plane and go to Revolve. Align the view. Now in the earlier cases, what I was doing is I was selecting first I was pre-deciding the axis of revolution, and then I was beginning my sketch. So right now I just want the axis of revolution to be the horizontal axis. And in the earlier cases, I was creating geometries that were touching to the particular axis of revolution. But right now, let me see what will happen if I'm creating a sketch at some distance from this horizontal axis, which is the axis of revolution. So I can create the components in this fashion as well. So let me change the dimensions to some random dimensions. Okay, so this is the distance between the axis of revolution and the sketch. So I have my sketch ready with me. So just try to imagine what geometry will I be getting over here. I will be getting a ring over here. So let me select the axis of revolution as x-axis, and you can see I got a ring over here which is having a circular swept path, but the cross section is created as per the geometry what we have defined. And you can see the rotation over here. So we have created the rectangle over here, and we have swept it around the particular axis of revolution at some particular angle. So let me just change the angle to be around 360. And this is a circular cross section if we are cutting it laterally. I mean, if we are just cutting the geometry with this particular plane, it is a circular circle basically. And you can see that we have created the revolve option, which is having some distance from the axis of revolution. So this is the axis of revolution, and you can see the axis is created over here, and we got this particular ring over here. And this is the way to create or to use revolve command using different options. Let us move to the next video and see further creation of revolve in combination of extrude command.